Please subscribe and share this video with your friends.
Welcome back to the Dating Den. My name is Christian Anderson. Right here next to me is the gorgeous Marni Batista.
I love this part.
Yeah. And we have a special guest with us for a special episode, because all the way from New York City comes Tanya Ezekiel from CareerCoach.com. Tanya, welcome to the show. It's good to have you here.
Thank you, Marni. Craig, we need that sound effect where it goes,
Yeah. And the reason why we're all huddled together and bunched together like we're in some New York apartment during an episode of Rent
New York
or something
studio.
like that. And but anyways, so it's exciting stuff because we're going to be talking about, as a woman, how do you have it all? How do you be the successful woman and be forthright in your work and your accomplishments, but at the same time not sacrifice your dating life? So let's kick it off right there.
Love the topic.
Right.
So here's the thing. So first about you. You are a great example of a woman who has a really thriving practice, career coach, former Wall Streeter, great family, bun in the oven.
Okay.
Right? That's pretty tough to be like hanging with the boys in Wall Street. What was your turning point where you realized the whole difference between being at work and being in a relationship, and that there had to be like a melding?
Well, like all of us, I had to learn through my experiences.
Okay.
So if I knew then what I know now, it would have been much easier for me early on. And I think that's part of why we're here today.
Right.
Because now we know what we know, and we want to make it easier for our viewers to not have to go through similar processes that we did to learn what we've learned.
So were you like just a total like tough ass at work?
My first job was as a trader at Salomon Brothers on Wall Street. So
Oh, wow.
I wasn't messing around.
Right.
And I wanted that job since I was a teenager. And so at the age of 25, I was one of the 5 women traders in the world. I traded bond options at Salomon on the trading floor. And I was just so passionate about it, so lit up about it. And the first thing I did, like a good student, is get to the trading floor, look around me and say, okay, this is how all the boys succeed.
Right.
So I'm going to do what they do.
Okay.
Okay, so mistake number 1.
Okay, write this down. Mistake number 1.
Mistake number 1 is I'm never going to be as good a man as a man.
Oh, that's deep. I don't have the parts for one.
No, I didn't know that at 25 because I tried for years.
Okay.
And I did it in that way, and I succeeded pretty young. I had a bunch of interesting opportunities, good challenges, and I took everyone with force.
Okay.
And so at an early age of 34 or 35, I got promoted to managing director.
Okay.
And really, I think that's when things started turning for me. I'll be completely honest. And the reason for that is because once I saw that my boxes were getting checked, I lightened up a little bit. Right? So I wanted to make 7 figures. I wanted to be managing director. I wanted to run a global team at a major bank. So all these things that were so important to me that I just approached in the same way that men are approaching. And it wasn't without its pain.
Okay.
But I got there. And once I checked those boxes, I started realizing, okay, well, now what?
That's so great. So one of my clients said it really well. She said, I got to a point where I realized where work wasn't going to love me back.
Interesting.
Right? Like she loved her work.
Yeah.
She was passionate. She had achieved this like high milestone of success. And she woke up and said, I think I want more. Is that sort of what you're saying?
Yeah, absolutely. And I was fortunate enough to have a good man in my life. But now in hindsight, even our relationship has developed so much because I'm more of a woman at home as well. Right? So because we were really both acting like men on Wall Street.
Right.
We'd come home and we'd rehash the day and say, okay, this is what happened today. This is what I accomplished. This is what challenged it. And it was exciting because it felt so complimentary.
Right.
Because we get each other, we understand each other, we think on the same level. And really the next 5 or 6 years, which is where I am now, is when things started to change for me. Because once I let go of that, I need to check all those boxes. I need to succeed. I need to be the performer, the execution person. I need to accomplish all this. Then I started thinking of things another way. And and this is what I think what we're trying to express today is, well, how could it have been easier for me?
Right. Okay. So what's 1 or 2 tips?
So the way it became easier for me was when I started connecting to what it's like to be a woman.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. At home and at work. Why do I say at home and at work? Because mistake number 2.
Okay, write this down, people. If you're playing along, write this down.
Mistake number 2, we tend to separate who we are from what we do.
Wait, say that again. We tend to separate
who we are from what we do. So, I work on Wall Street. I get there at 6 in the morning, and for 12 hours, this is what I do. And then I leave work and try and figure out who I am, but I'm still in that hyper drive.
Sure.
Of what I've been doing all day. So the who I am is I'm trying to find out who I am. So I go out with friends, I relax, have a glass of wine, and suddenly like I'm in my own natural, authentic element. I'm me again. But as long as we separate out who we are from what we do, we're never actually going to be happy. Because think about it, it's like 12 hours a day of not being who I am. Of being who I think I should be through what I do.
Okay. So go ahead.
Well, I was just wondering, because you had a job where you had to be extremely probably aggressive and strong, and let's say if we use the masculine feminine terms, probably using some aspects of yourself that were more on the masculine side, right?
Yes.
But we have both energies. So how do you truly be yourself and be able to survive in both worlds? Because a lot of women would say, if I don't bring my more masculine energy to the workforce, I will get pile drived by the male workforce, right? And if I bring that same energy to the dating world, then men push back and like, whoa, I want to be that energy for you. So how does a woman try to find the natural, authentic place where she can be herself and be in both worlds, but not get penalized in either one?
Yes. How can you bring more of your girls to work?
So many amazing questions in there. So many answers we can explore. One thing is when I think back of did I really check all those boxes through masculine energy? I'm not so sure. Intellectually, I can justify each one of those. That if I didn't operate that way, then I wouldn't have accomplished those things, and those were operating the way men operate.
Okay.
But when I think about what were really my strengths, and now this is an important piece, because when we talk about like playing to your strengths, when you're a woman, we're talking about playing to your feminine strengths. But even strengths. So if I say, what are our strengths? We're going to go the same place, right? I'm a strong leader. I like get people. I love challenges. Those are kind of male or female strengths. Okay. But I'm talking about female strengths.
Okay. So when
I think about what really. Like the year I got promoted to managing director, I solved one of the largest problems that Bank of America was dealing with at the time, and it really was a client relationship management issue, and it was an issue about how the entire platform wasn't coordinated. So there was a bunch of silo businesses, functions, and people really weren't coming together because they didn't share similar interests.
So you used your relationship building and communication and nurturing of personality
there you go.
to be the problem solver.
Okay.
All feminine traits instead of just being forceful and a guy.
Just being confident in who you are as a woman and not falling to this idea that I have to express these masculine traits or I will not survive. That there's a lot of power in the feminine.
So in hindsight, when I tapped into these things, I was like, well, hang on a second. Then maybe I didn't really succeed through masculine traits. I actually succeeded through differentiating myself with the feminine traits. I just didn't give them enough.
That's so brilliant. So just by virtue of owning your feminine traits and using them as an asset, you can be more successful at work and then have an easier transition when you go on a date with hunky Christian. You can say, wow, actually my feminine strength is really powerful.
Okay, so here's where we're getting at. So then if I'm like that all day, right? If I'm in my power all day of, you know what, there's 5 men in this meeting or whatever, and not every industry is the same. It just happens to be my experience, right? If there's 5 men in this meeting and I'm the woman, and I'm doing, for example, the intuitive listening. Well, guess what? There's a good chance the 5 men in the room at that moment are not doing the intuitive listening. They're doing subjective listening.
They're thinking about food and sex and their career.
What?
What'd you say?
Can you repeat that?
Or they're doing subjective listening or objective listening, right? Because those just come more naturally. Like, how does this affect me? How am I going to solve this problem? How do I fix this, right? If I'm the one in the room doing the intuitive listening, and I do time out. It sounds to me like, doesn't mean they said this.
Right.
Right? It sounds to me like what's really going on here is we're all frustrated by the same thing and someone's just got to take charge. You know what? I'll own it. Let me see what I can find out. Let me see why these people really don't want to do their job the way we want them to do it. And let's just come back and see what we figure out. Right? Just by saying this, I suddenly felt like everyone can just calm down. Right? So intuitive listening is one of those things that a woman can do so naturally.
Okay, so that means listen. So listen, not just with your ears for how it affects you, but like what is your gut telling you? What's your intuition? What are you noticing about body language? Being really, really present in the room. That was amazing. Thank you so much for being here today. That was so good. There's more of Tanya coming later here at Dating with Dignity in a global way because
we haven't even gone to the dating part.
I know we didn't to the dating part because really, I just really think it's so important that ultimately you can have it all. You can be successful at work and love, and you don't really have to sacrifice. You have to actually be more authentic.
And you don't have to change as you're leaving work. You just be who you are.
It's not like you
all through the
leave
day.
a Superman cape at the office when you show up for the date. You can be the same woman that you are at the office.
Same woman,
and have the same
all
success
day,
at
every
the work.
day.
Yes.
Love it. Thank you, Tanya.
Thank you
This
for
was
having me.
awesome.
Awesome.
CareerCoach.com. Thank you so much.
Tanya's
honey.
Thank you. See you guys later.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Peace.